Hello and welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for joining us, not in my studio. Not even technically in your studio.
No, totally different.
Instead,
I've never seen this.
In my road trip studio that we are currently practicing and preparing with in Ohio at Alexander Radcliffe Sender III's house.
It's pretty impressive, honestly. Do you travel with these Calic shelves and these games behind you?
I do, every time.
It's
every time.
I mean, I've seen your car. It's not that big.
Listen, here's what we're doing, Alex. And we're going to do it quick, because as anyone knows, the content that we produce, it's lightning fast.
Everyone, look at how long the video is now and either laugh or not, because we don't know yet.
Listen,
we don't know.
We're a whirlwind of conversation and information, and this video is going to demonstrate that in the most effective way possible by having a 4-minute introduction.
Basically.
We're currently testing out this model where I hit the road and collaborate with as many people as possible. So that's what we're doing here in Ohio. We have a few videos that we're producing, and one of which is the video you're watching now, where I have gone through your collection without your insight or advocacy for any of these games and selected the top 10 worst games in BoardGameCo's collection.
And this does feel like something very much in Quackalope's genre, like walk into someone's home,
and then
immediately tell them the worst things they own, and then put that on camera for all the world to see. Do you plan on making friends on this trip?
Here's the interesting thing. This is very, very purposefully inspired by the podcast that we do together, where we have clearly demonstrated some variation in taste. Is that an appropriate way to...
Variation? Yeah, I would say so. Wrong, right? You can call it what you want.
I typically call it, these are the worst games BoardGameCo currently owns.
I think it's a great title. The worst 10 games in BoardGameCo's collection.
And let's start with one that was on the podcast very recently, which is going to be probably not that controversial. This is...
Whoa. Not that controversial meaning what? Like, you expect people to agree with you?
Yeah, most people will agree with me.
Okay.
This is One Night Ultimate Werewolf. And this box is Daybreak. I don't know if there's subcategories of this game.
There's all these One Night Ultimate Vampire, One Night Ultimate Alien, but Daybreak and Werewolf combine into, one box.
Don't defend yourself. Listen.
No, I own them all.
One Night Ultimate Werewolf is a party game that most of the time you play at conventions, which currently aren't happening, which first off make this a bad game. And second off, it's a game that is just a matter of randomizing everything with your eyes closed and then looking around the room going, you look suspicious.
Anyone who thinks that, anyone in the comments down below, Jesse, whoever, that means you're playing this game wrong. This game is a game of telling lies until you figure out who at the table has a cohesive thread of story.
This game is a game of pummeling your opponent with verbal abuse until they finally give up the fact or let it slip by the wrong phrase or word that they are in fact the werewolf.
No, because the werewolf switches during the night. You may have started off as the werewolf, but you first have to figure out what happened. You, more often than not, will be good by the time the night is over.
Because you're playing 75% of this game with your eyes closed going, oh god, I wonder what's happening.
You're playing 40 seconds with your eyes closed, followed by 5 to 7 minutes timed with your eyes open.
Yeah.
This game is a masterpiece of deduction.
I'm glad this isn't your video. This is very much so one of the games that I consider some of the worst in your collection.
Eventually. I want the follow-up video eventually for when Jesse and I finally do play this game, and we'll see how it goes. We'll
play this game together?
Yeah. 100%.
It's the only way you'd convince me to actually play it. Now we're bringing in a game called Mage Knight.
I think that's a solid choice.
Mage Knight is not here because I think it is one of the worst games he owns. Mage Knight is here because out of all the games you own, this is the one that I have the most storied history with.
Give me context there.
I owned this game for an extensive period of time, wanting to play it, sat down and tried to read the rulebook, and it has one of the worst rulebooks and introductions I've ever experienced in a game.
No argument so far.
This incredible game.
Have you played it?
Yes, some of the best deck building I've played when it comes to like adventuring on a map. But one of the worst rulebooks and most least accessible games I've ever come across.
Are you expecting me to argue with you?
No.
Okay, cool, because I'm not going to. This game frequently... My eye frequently catches this game whenever I'm thinking of what games will leave the collection, specifically because I think it is one of the best games out there, but I have never yet played this game 3 or 4 times in a row. I pull it out, I play it, I struggle through the rulebook, I break my teeth, I have an incredible gameplay experience.
Great, I mean, a really good gameplay experience.
And then I come back a year later and do the thing again. And for me, I find that sometimes you need to lock 3 or 4 plays under your belt before you can start skipping that consistently checking the rulebook when you come back 6 to 12 months later.
I'm not sure this will ever be on my list of something I can actually skip the rulebook for, and for that, this is one of the worst games in your collection.
It may one day leave. It's one of the best games I own, and it may one day leave my collection.
Let's pull in a game that I Just another small box. Another nice...
This isn't even a game.
Nice,
Why'd you pick this one?
Thank you.
Why'd you pick this?
Because Jan, for some reason, classifies this as a game.
No, it's a ton of fun. It's just not a game.
This is just an experience.
Yeah.
One of which I've had, and I'm done with.
Can we just clarify, this video now has to be titled the top 9 worst games that BoardGameCo owns.
So you agree with me that this is not a game?
I mean, I wouldn't argue someone who called it a game.
Sure.
But it is an incredible experience. But the gameplay is different.
The mind is going to be an adventure into timing rhythms in your head so that you can place down cards and not, risk the chain of the sequence that you're playing. And you sit in silence and you stare at each other and you in your mind go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You're
8,
playing games with the wrong people. That's what I'm getting out of this video. You're playing games with the wrong people. Between this and One Night Ultimate Werewolf...
I play games with one person only, and that is Jan.
You're playing games with the wrong people.
Perfect.
Like I said.
The Mind, another, debatably, worst game in your collection.
It's a ton of fun, just not a game.
Zombicide.
You picked Invader?
No. You gave me Invader.
I know I gave you Invader.
You gave me Invader. Zombicide, which is plastered on the side of your room here. Now, I, granted, do not know enough to not... to differentiate between Invader and all the others.
Invader's the worst of all of them. Yeah, that thing can go.
Perfect. So this is the worst of the worst in your collection, and apparently, I thought there was going to be more controversy here. You love Zombicide.
I love Zombicide, but Invader's a different story.
Fair enough. Listen, I have not had good experience with Zombicide so far. I find it very mundane and plotting, and you said that my first experience was probably...
It was wrong.
Inaccurate in the way we played.
Yeah, and to be clear, when I say someone's experience was wrong, I know that there's a constant trend in this space for when someone doesn't share the same opinion with you, of course they did it wrong. You got a rule wrong. You played with the wrong people.
You very specifically pointed out something that I think is worth acknowledging.
Yeah. I asked one question. I said, do you play one character or do you play multiple?
I played one.
Because this game, you only play with 6 characters at a time in the whole game. And if you're playing as one of those 6 characters, and combined with the fact that in Zombicide, you frequently have dead turns.
4 players. I was the new player. I was playing one character. I believe most of the game was dead for me.
Yeah, it's not the way I would recommend playing it.
So maybe there's a chance to redeem this game, but ever since that experience, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Zombicide, there's other dungeon crawl sort of adventure games I'd rather play, and I'm willing to put it on a shelf of, this is one of the worst that you have.
I think you should, Black Plague specifically, I think you should still play it at some point.
I'm open to playing with you. I do not want to have the experience with anyone else.
There's a but, and the big but is unfortunate, because the last time we had this conversation, I was sure you would like it after you played it with me.
Yeah.
But since then, you've played Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yes.
Which means even if it is good, it might be fighting against Cthulhu Death May Die, which for me, they're neck and neck, but Cthulhu Death May Die does win, which means best case scenario at this point.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for now...
We'll see.
That'll be worst.
Zombicide is excellent. Do not get rid of it at all. Invader, whatever.
Arboretum, one of the worst games you own.
I got rid of it once.
Specifically because you got rid of and got back the wrong copy.
Well, that was a coincidental thing. I happened to get rid of it, and then I happened to get it back with the new printing.
Arboretum is a lovely game.
It's a lovely game.
It's a lovely game where you're doing your best to sequence a deck of cards,
Yep.
plant trees, slowly... I mean, you're matching color
100%.
lines. Yeah. What's the main mechanic of this? I don't know how to quite describe it.
Hand management? Hand management, probably. I'd go with hand management, sequencing.
Sort of, it's an abstract with a beautiful piece of artwork.
It's an abstract with a beautiful piece of artwork.
Here's the problem. This brand new copy of Arboretum, I find really ugly. I went
nicer than the old one.
I went out of my way to get the old copy with the beautiful green box and the rich aesthetic of trees, like you're sending postcards to friends and family.
Dull, honestly.
This game is one of the worst games in your collection, specifically because this edition I have no interest in.
And I'm so against reprintings normally. Just this time they got it right.
You're so wrong on that. You're so darn wrong on that.
It's so much better. It has a much greater color range. I love the color range.
Do I need to say anything?
You're wrong? I mean, you're wrong. We could put off the side.
Such a dull game. I mean, aggressively so.
It is
a abstract tug of war where you're managing card systems until you've played apparently 12.5 times. You don't really understand what is good about this game, and let's just be clear. I don't want to play this 12.5 times before I understand what's good about it.
You don't have to play it 12.5 times. How many times have you played it?
Played it once.
Okay, cool. Great. Just making sure. So far, he's claiming you have to play it 18 times to appreciate it, and yet he hasn't gotten to play number 2.
That's true. I don't own this. After the first play, I really had no interest in owning it. I don't find the theme or aesthetic very compelling. I found the card play heavily randomized. Like
So
I didn't enjoy the strategy of it.
I hear you. The context I will give you is I played this. Well, I played it more than once, but I played it once, and I was like, that was interesting. I can see it being more fun. Let me try it again. And then I played it again, and I was like, that was a lot of fun. And the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it. But the one play was where I was on the fence. And then 2 plays, I was like, I am in.
There's games in your collection that I do not like, that you advocate for, that I would be willing to try with you.
I would, well, I think it's worth a play.
But I don't want to play this again.
Then I wouldn't suggest it.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, like, there are some games that I would push for in different ways, or there's some specific questions, like with Zombicide, where I have a specific question that I'm trying to push on.
Yes.
With this one, I mean, it just might not be a game for you.
Jan really likes those abstracts a lot more than me. It just didn't do it for me.
It is a dry, abstract tug-of-war with a ton of different things happening that actually make it interesting, but even describing it to you, I'd have a hard time describing why it's so good.
In a way that especially I would be interested in. Let's pull something that's a little bit ridiculous over here.
Roads and Boats.
This
ridiculous.
Game is specifically... It doesn't even fit. Like,
yeah, you can't get it in the frame at all.
This game is specifically wrong because apparently there's some water on top of it.
I noticed it. I ignored it.
I didn't know that water was there. I'm sorry. That must have come from my cup.
It's all good.
I now owe you a brand new box. Luckily
Apparently,
for you, you're going to cut this box
in
in half and get rid of it because it is such a aggressively obtuse game for... I don't even think the boards justify the size of the box. No, look. All right, inside of here, that does not need this. It doesn't need this.
Not the slightest.
This is a game that I have heard good things about.
Can I give you context here? Mm-hmm. There's currently water stains forming on my box.
Yeah, well, I wiped some off.
Yeah, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
Because the box and the artwork and everything about this game is not why I own it. I also haven't played it for what it's worth. But this is from Slaughter.
This game's so bad there's a child crying in the background.
There's a child crying in the background. My box is stained, everything, whatever. But I believe that this game will be incredible. I believe it will deliver an amazing experience just because I have the reviews.
Yeah.
And Slaughter, I love Slaughter games. I love Food Chain Magnet.
I'm not arguing that this is a bad game. I have not played it. I have heard really good things. This game specifically is one of the worst in your collection because it fits nowhere. Yeah. It fits absolutely nowhere to the point where people literally cut this box in half.
Yeah. I think it's apt and appropriate that in order to focus on that kind of thing, I literally am watching water stains form and I don't care.
Yeah, I hear you. But I also feel bad about that and would replace the box and game entirely if he asked me to.
Well, if you want, Paul Grogan on his channel goes through extensively how he completely made his own copy of Roads and Boats. If you want to do that, I would not be averse to a deluxeified...
Just a very, very personally approach and physically create.
He liked the game, and he just said, "I want better artwork. I want better this. I want better that." He did everything. I mean, it looked pretty labor intensive. We can have a conversation.
Because what I have on, can I give you money?
Money? No. This has to be a labor of love, Jesse.
It's worth so much more than time, though. That money is so cheap compared to the time that I'm spending.
But where's the feeling? Where's the copy of Roads and Boats?
Honor him.
Yeah. It's a good game.
No passion about it?
So this is from the Oniverse series, and you were looking at my shelf trying to figure out which one to pick, and I was like, this is going to be interesting because depending on which one you pick, there's going to be a different conversation.
It was a debate between this one and Arion specifically.
The conversations would have been the same.
Oh, really?
So for me, in the Oniverse series, the ones that I like the most are going to be Cassian, then what's the one with
Sylvian? Nautilian?
Cassian, Sylvian.
Sylvian, Nautilian, Arion.
Yeah. Cassian and Sylvian are my 2 favorites. From there, Nautilian is my least favorite.
Really?
It has roll and move as a mechanic. It does have roll and move as a mechanic.
It does.
It mitigates it.
It didn't bother me.
It doesn't. It doesn't excite me. And Arian and Onirum are 2 that I want to go back to. I have limited plays of both. I think I have like maybe 3 or 4 plays of Onirum, 3 or 4 plays of Arian, compared to like 10 to 20 on the others. And I like it. I do. I like the mechanism of the keys and the doors and how they add. And my favorite thing about the Oniverse series is how he adds to each of his games. He adds another layer as you go through it. So you first play the game, and then he's like, and now we level it up.
It's like 5 expansions.
And what I love is the way you start by being like, well, that was cute, and then you play the next level and you're like, oh, that's intriguing, and then you play the 3rd level and you're like, oh, there's a game here, and I like that. And in Onirum, I've only gotten to the 2nd level so far, so I'm intrigued. I like it. if things went south in my whole house, whatever, this wouldn't be the first game I hunted down. Not by a long shot.
I like those. I like these. I like this series of solo games.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic of them, and I like that they're small box solo games that always provide an interesting puzzle, that level just like you're describing.
And
I
what
like
made
that
you pick
scale.
this one?
What made me pick with this one is not only is this one for a physicality my least favorite to play. You're reshuffling.
You're constantly reshuffling. I hear that.
The mechanic is more simple than some of the others when it comes to the degree of story you're being told.
Frequent reshuffling, I agree.
Frequent reshuffling, and here's the key for me. The app of this has killed the game.
Oh, there's an app.
It is one of the apps that has entirely replaced this in my collection.
I have no interest.
I do not need this game.
I have no interest in the app only because for me the Oniverse series, the Oniverse series of games, to me literally exists for those times where I'm like, I have 20 minutes, I want something rewarding, no one else wants to play a game with me, and so I pull out either the Sprawlopolis, the Oniverse series, or now Under Falling Skies has recently joined that list as well.
I hear you there. That was the reason why I picked this, though.
Good,
I not only don't need this one in my shelf of them, but this is also the last one I pick when thinking about what I want to have a fun little 20-minute experience with. Because so much of this is just combined of matching cards and then shuffling and reshuffling and continuing to shuffle. And I've got thick little stubby thumbs.
Makes
so,
sense.
You know.
I almost got rid of cartographers because I just wanted the app. It does. I understand and acknowledge the concept.
That would have been a mistake.
Yeah.
Another worst game in your collection.
What are we up to now? What are we up to? We have 5, 6, I don't know.
This is 8, I believe, with a caveat of one of them was not a game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Smartphone Inc. A game that my gaming group really likes.
Okay.
Jan likes this game.
Okay.
William likes this game. Both have it as permanent staples in their collection. One of them wrote a very, very public-facing and positive article about this for the Quackalope website.
Sure.
I have not yet figured out what charms people about this
So you're saying
game.
I shouldn't own this one?
I'm saying I got rid of mine. You'd probably do well to get rid of
I
yours.
only got it because of that article on the Quackalope website.
Yeah.
I haven't even played it yet.
I think you might enjoy it. You and Jan's tastes tend to align more often than yours and mine, but I find the theme and the application of that theme in this more abstract.
I just want to point out that this game only is in my collection because of Quackalope, and then Head Quackalope is over here.
It's not a game for me.
I shouldn't.
It's
own
not a
this
game. It's one of the worst games you have in your collection. It's not a game for me.
Wow.
Yeah. Jan loves it. He's literally going to send me very angry texts when he sees this part of the video.
I mean, I guess I can get rid of it. Apparently, it's not very good.
Yeah, you might as well.
Might want to find another media source.
So if you're looking for a copy of Smartphone Inc., specifically, I think this is the Kickstarter edition. Let Alex know. I'm sure he'll be happy to send it your way.
Practically gone.
Out of here.
If you say it's not good. I mean, then again, you don't like Watergate, so maybe I'll hold on to it just a tad longer.
It's not for me. I've played it 3 times.
You've played Smartphone 3 times?
Played it 3 times.
Wow.
Again, my gaming group enjoys that game.
Oh no, I have not. It's not going anywhere. Please.
I don't enjoy that game.
That's fine. That's fine with me. I'm just surprised you gave it 3 plays.
It's not bad enough. I'm willing to turn it down.
That's a testament. I frequently aim to own games that Jesse won't turn down.
The more often I play it, the more times I've played it, the less interested I've become after every cycle.
Gotcha. There's a handful of games that fit into that range for me, and some of them are pretty popular. Scythe is a great game where I understand the love for it. I just don't have the love for it. Same.
The last worst game in your collection is going to be Terraforming Mars, one which I very publicly announced I have never played. So I'm willing to stand by this statement as this being one of the worst because this is the game that I need to play the most when it comes to my pedigree of a board gamer, and probably the game that I aggressively do not want to play the most. The artwork, mostly it comes down to artwork and theme. I have so little interest and desire to play this game, and the longer I go on telling people that I've never played it, the more in my heart I think, well, why not just say you're never going to play it?
Why would you do that? It's a great game. It's an incredible game. It's also one of the few amazing solo experiences I consistently pull out that's over 2 hours.
Every time I look at this box, I think, oh yeah, that's the game that I'm supposed to play because everyone likes it.
I mean, so far...
And I don't want to.
We're 9 games in, and I think 4 of your picks have been related to artwork.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, that's fine. If that's the worst games that I own, I'm okay with this, how this is going so far.
Listen.
Can we do this at your house? Because my list will be very different.
No. The difference is I do not curate or get rid of games from my collection.
That's fair. That's fair. No, that's a reasonable thing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're going to keep everything, it's not really a challenge.
Yours is specifically a curated collection.
Heavily curated.
That you always publicly announce what you're cycling, what is coming and going. And I'm going to be honest.
Next month's video, 6 of these will be gone, apparently.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I did have a hard time picking things that were bad in your... I thought I was going to show up here, and there was going to be enough of a collection for me to be like the Scourge, to be like, I disagree with you here. I already know Zombicide didn't agree. I called you on the phone, and I told you get One Night Ultimate Werewolf on the table, and Zombicide ready to go. I had some picked, and then I started looking at your shelves, and I go,
And I recently did a count, by the way. I have 320 games in my collection. And he had a trouble finding 10, which is something.
I did.
I'll take it.
I did. There was a few children's games.
Yes.
But those aren't really fair to target. I mean, you do have children.
There's like an entire category of games where I own, not for myself, but for people, whether friends, my wife, my kids, and you can target those. You're just not picking on me, and then where's the fun?
Overall, I think you have a very, very substantial
is this it? This the last
collection.
one?
That's the last one.
Oh, that's it.
I think you have a very substantial and impressive collection. I would say 6 out of those 10 I would get rid of if I were you.
Well, you're not me, and this is my collection, and maybe Smartphone Inc., because that one apparently was a Quackalope suggested board game.
Well, whatever the case, I think this indicates that some games don't have to be right for me.
Yeah.
They can be right for you.
That's the way games work. Every game is a special snowflake to somebody. The highest rated game on Board Game Geek is Gloomhaven, and there are many people who do not like that game. And then behind me, somewhere, if I can find it, we have Terra Nova, which I believe is the worst actual rated game in my collection, coming in at a 6.4 on Board Game Geek.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I like this game. I think it's a solid abstract 2-player experience. Had he picked this, I wouldn't have been able to defend it because, I mean... He has the masses.
I pay attention to art more than BGG ratings, though.
This is a good game. I like it. I like it. Solid game. I mean, again, it's in my opinion. Just mine. But that's...
Whatever the case, I hope this has been at least some degree of satisfactory. I know all of you are disagreeing with me. I did my best to pick out his worst games. He just doesn't have a lot. I really am looking forward to the continuation of this series where you maraud into people's homes, pick out their worst games, and then do a video. I'm looking forward. What specifically content creators.
Yeah.
I guess. Tell me it would not be fun to walk into Jeremy Howard's house and pick out 10 games that I didn't like in his collection.
Well, I mean, he loves Terraforming Mars. I know that.
So I'll just do that one again. I've got one.
Just get rid of Terraforming Mars, Jeremy. Yeah, 100%. Or get rid of Bargain Quest. Yeah, that's a terrible game.
Did you have that? Do you have Bargain Quest?
No, I don't have Bargain Quest.
Because I was looking for that one.
Oh, really?
I thought you might have Bargain Quest. Oh. I do not like Bargain Quest.
I thought it was me against all of you on Bargain Quest.
No. I am seduced by the promise of it and have not found an experience that I enjoyed in it.
Yeah.
Jan likes it. Jan and William like it.
Jeremy loves it. Anyways, Jeremy Howard, apparently you're next.
Yeah, we're coming your way, buddy.
With this. And you also purge games, which means you're also fair bait or whatever.
Collection. If you've enjoyed this, leave a comment down below letting me know where I went drastically wrong and how you would approach this type of list.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing, get out and play some games, and he'll see you next time.
Be kind to another. Or something.
No, we're not. I mean, I do one of the two. I don't do them all the time.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You said it was forced last time. It wasn't. Yeah. It's just what I'm feeling at the moment.
Gotcha.
It could be.
I did the other one last time.
Remember to do the important thing. Be kind to each other. Or it could be, remember to do the important thing. Get out and play some games.
But then I have no idea what to say. I'll just guess.
Reasonable.
That's fine.
Reasonable. Whatever you're feeling at the time. This is all about, artwork.
I mean, playing games is being kind to another.
We'll see you next time.